very good team and playing good basketball now. They've played really well here the last 6 weeks of the year. Big, strong, and physical, great rebounding team. Take care of the ball, don't turn it over a lot. Defend, and as you would expect Greg's team to do, they just play really hard. So, we know it's going to be a really physical game. Both teams defend, so I'm sure the tempo will be a little bit of a old school rock fight, and you're going to have to execute, make some shots, and make some tough plays to win. Questions?
Brad, just because of who they are and what they've done in the tournament, just feel like sort of like an NCAA tournament game with the way the two teams
No,
are?
not really. No, it doesn't. But it's obviously we have a lot of respect for their program and how they play, and they play the game a lot like we do. Control tempo, defend you, fight you in every possession, and they do a really good job of taking care of the ball. I think that's one thing that when you kind of look into their team and watch their team play, their guards really, they take care of it. They don't make very many poor decisions. Greg has them, they run some good stuff, and when they don't have anything out of their sets or whatever they're running, they flow into either a little bit of motion or some ball screen stuff, and their kids aren't afraid to go deep into the shot clock. They'll be patient, get a good shot, and work at it, and they make you sustain against them, especially defensively, because possessions aren't over until you get a rebound, and that's not easy to do against them.
You had a tough night offensively the other day. What does he need to do to kind of bounce back?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, sometimes games work that way. David Scara seemed to find a lot more shots. It was a harder game for Amir just because of some matchup situations. He's just, he needs to find a basket or two on his own sometimes, whether it's in transition or an offensive rebound, put back. If I was going to be critical, that'd be the one area where he's got to do a little bit more. But, that sometimes because of the nature of the game, it doesn't go to him. He's not a ball-dominant guy, so he's not going to have the possession as much as some other players. And, the other game, for whatever reason, the ball seemed to find David Scara a lot, and he was able to make some plays. So, we need him to keep defending and rebounding, and, he's got to look to make a play or two on his own a little bit more often. That'd be the only thing that I really want him to do.
Clyde seemed to be more decisive in his decision-making coming down the stretch, especially the last few games. What have you seen in his development coming down and going into next year?
Yeah, Clyde's really worked hard on his shooting a lot. We've worked on some fundamental things with him over the last year and a half, and I think this year, as much as any, you can almost see sometimes it takes guys some time to really believe in what you're telling them, and then it takes time when you try to correct a skill. It takes time for that to be corrected, especially something as challenging as shooting. And I think at a point in the year he started to feel some more confidence, and then he started getting in the gym even more, and then obviously the skill started to improve a little bit more. And I just think it's a combination of all those factors. I think it's a combination of having some success, understanding and believing that you're really a good player, confidence, good habits, that it all kind of just, with different players, it the game slows down a little bit for you. You just don't know when it's going to be, and when it eventually starts to happen, you see some guys making bigger time plays, and not just more plays more consistently, but at the end of a game, guys will make decisive plays. And I think in the right state game, there's 3 or 4 times, when Clyde has the ball and is making decisive, really good plays at the end of a game. And some of it's a little bit even more opportunity, obviously, with Shelton's injury, but I thought he played very well.
How nice was it to see the effort of your seniors the other night?
Yeah, it was good. Marquise and Shelton, or Marquise and Eli and Scar all played well. Obviously, it was nice to give Clyde or Lyles a couple minutes. But I was pleased with that. I thought they would, because they practiced well. You know, and that obviously carries our team. Those guys carry a lot of weight in our locker room and are good players, and you know, it's hard for us to win when they don't play well. Those guys have had a lot on them a long time this year, and that was another example of those guys, you know, doing their jobs at a very high level.
You're one step away from taking them to New York City. How much is that?
Two steps. We gotta win the next one after. You know what, it is though, New York City is, you know, I've said it, it's a carrot, for these guys. They, you know, they see Madison Square Garden on TV, they've heard about it, they know some of the big games that have been played there by, some of the game's greats, and, you know, I think they would be excited about that, and know that would be, you know, a bucket list type thing for them to be able to play there and have an opportunity to go to New York City with their teammates. I think that would be a lot of fun. So certainly that's something that guys talk about in the locker room and are excited about.
Along those lines, especially after picking up the first win, do you think the guys have really embraced this tournament and just the opportunity to keep playing?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think they've done a good job, you know. You know, again, I told you after the Wright State game that, you know, I thought we had really good practices. And, you know, I think we've been smart as a staff of trying to figure out how to, you know, practice but not over practice and keep their energy level up. And we're on spring break again this week, and it's been, you know, there's not a lot going on, and so how do we keep our guys excited and energized, and you know, winning a game was really good, and you know, hopefully we'll have a few more fans for the next one and even more energy in the gym. But you know, we've tried to keep our guys in a good place, and you know, I think our older guys have done a good job of you know, making sure that we're practicing well, and when we do meet, it's, you know, we get something out of the meetings, and try to go into each game as prepared as we can be, and then you got to go beat good teams. Everybody in this tournament, you know, is you know, playing pretty well. The mid-major teams most of those guys have either won their league, you know, and lost in the tournament, and then, you know, I mean, these guys are a high major team. When you play these kinds of teams, they're teams that have won 19 or 20 games, and you know, like these guys, they were a little bit like us in that they started the year a little slow in their league. They had a really difficult schedule at the beginning, and then it kind of settled down, and they were a young team and got themselves going, and they've played really well the last 6 weeks. They're playing better than most teams in their league, so you know, playing a lot of confidence, and I think that, you know, they'll be excited as well. I think both teams hopefully are excited and trying to compete and trying to win another championship.
Looking at their numbers over the last couple of games, they seem to be getting a lot of production out of their bench play. How does that transpire with you guys having limited bench guys to come?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it was a little. I mean, Wright State was the same way. They didn't start Wampler, who was a really good player. You know, for them, I think you know, some teams just have more depth than others. You know, and more guys that can score. You know, I think you know, we have to make sure that the guys that play for us are productive, whatever that is. You know, it doesn't necessarily mean they have to score 15 points or anything, but, you know, I thought it was significant for John Newman. I think he had 6 points the other night and was very efficient in his play. And you know, those guys that come in for us they got to help. You know, last game was not really a game with Eli being not in foul trouble where the other guys were going to play as much. I think in this game we're going to have to play Javen and, you know, Javen a good bit, and we may have to play Trey some, depending on, you know, the situation. They play 2 and 3 6'11" guys, 7-footers, wear you down. I think, you know, it'll be hard for Eli to play, you know, heavy minutes in this game. He's going to have to play, but you know, those other guys are going to have to help us and defend and rebound their position for sure.
Any
All
more
good?
questions? Appreciate it. Good.
Thank you.